I'm Sean.
I'm Rhonda.
We're excited to be with you today. Have you ever heard the phrase, pick your battles? One thing that we think about on that is when we want to talk about an issue that's important to both of us.
You know, I think a lot of couples are not picking their battles and they're just, everything is a battle. You know, one thing I remember a while back that I read somewhere that, you know, when everything is intense, everything kind of loses its intensity.
Yeah.
Because really, you know, if we, whether it's with our teenage children or our spouse, I mean, this applies in any relationship.
Yeah.
If we're constantly intense, guess what? We just move baseline up. That's all we do.
Yeah.
And then once everything is intense, people aren't listening to us anymore.
Yeah. You know, we all have conflict from time to time in our marriage relationship, and knowing how to effectively deal with that, knowing what the components of working through an issue successfully are, is what we're talking about.
And so we need to both be ready, and we want to kind of talk about this, ready to talk about an issue. A lot of times, especially whoever's more verbal and maybe emotionally more aggressive or out there, you might say, passionate, you know, that person can a lot of times present an issue when the other person isn't ready. But we can also present it when we ourselves aren't ready.
You know, something that's things that have happened with us when we're talking about things, sometimes I can think that this is the issue with Rhonda, and she can say, well, you know, you're spending a lot of time talking about something and that's not really important to me. So making sure that we're on the same page, that if we're going to spend time talking about an issue, what if it's not really an issue to your spouse?
Right. And so we have to be sure, and this is how repeating back is so important. Make sure we're going in the same direction. Also, you know, what if I'm not ready to talk through an issue? What if I'm very intense, very emotional, have a lot of feeling going on? I'm not ready.
No.
I could share, sure, but it's probably not going to go well.
It could be volatile. So we need to pick the right timing, and that we're in the right frame of mind. We're ready to talk about an
ourselves.
issue. That's right.
But also we have to watch our spouse. Our spouse needs to be in the right frame of mind also.
Right.
What if I just spring an issue out there? Sean isn't ready at all. You know, it's probably not going to go well, right?
That is so important. You know, you can be ready to talk about an issue and assume that this is a good time to talk about it because I'm ready to talk about it. But what if my spouse, maybe they just walked in the door from work, or they had their mind on something, they were busy, and they really can't give the time and attention and energy into really connecting with your issue. Well, you're not going to get the kind of response that you're looking for if they're not ready also.
Yeah, and so, you know, a lot of times we go about these things poorly and we set up expectations from our spouse of how it's going to go. And those expectations alone can make either of us not ready. So if we can consistently learn to share at the right time and share well, we can change those expectations, which can help our spouse be ready. So if you have a spouse who's not ready to talk, realize you may be inadvertently, as we don't do this intentionally, right? But we may have inadvertently caused our spouse to believe we are aggressive, we are pushy, all these negative feelings that we just start sharing an issue and the spouse puts up walls.
Yeah. So this is really very simple. I think it just boils down to, is this issue important to you? And it needs to be important, obviously, to both of us, and that we're both ready to talk about the issue at this time.